Welcome guys, welcome to Share Your Knowledge Sunday week 6, and I am your host Josie, aka Hill Country Bruja. So this week we're going to be talking about full moon magic, specifically with this snow moon. I wanted to kind of correspond my Share Your Knowledge Sunday with the Witch With Me challenge prompt today, which was snow moon. And I also thought it was really cool that we actually had a full moon that was started on a Saturday but kind of transcended into Sunday. And so I thought, well, what an auspicious time to talk about full moon magic, especially with this specific moon. Now I want to start by saying I actually pre-recorded the original video for this topic a couple of days ago, and then I re-recorded after some new information surfaced. So if you're not sure about how to identify what moon phase that we're in, so this is how it works. This full moon's a little different. So yes, I've seen people post that the full moon is in Leo, but it also is in Virgo. So when I originally did my video, I did it based off of being full moon in Virgo. Where I got my information was a very useful tool called the Farmer's Almanac. Now the Farmer's Almanac has been used for years and years, actually centuries at this point, because it's been around since 1818. So over 2 centuries, farmers have been using this as a guide to plant and know when to reap their harvest and just all of that stuff. But what's really interesting is that they correspond the astrological chart in that. Now, so this little chart here breaks it down, and it has every month at the top, and then it has every day going down. So for February, you can look and see that on February 8th, we're in Leo, but then at February 9th, we're in Virgo. And so how this works is each sign the moon is in each sign for 2 days. So every 24 days it'll recycle. So what's interesting is that, yes, the full moon started on the 8th, which would be in Leo. But from my studying and the information I uncovered, it was at its full peak at 2:34 in the morning on the 9th, which would make it full moon in Virgo. So this indicates a couple of different things. First of all, it shows how astrology is an exact science, but also how we can perceive it is not so exact. So either way, the belief or the thought that it's in Leo or Virgo, neither one is really wrong. It's all about your perspective. It's also about the time zone that you're in. Sometimes if you look up when a full moon is at its peak, it's at weird times. It can be like 8 in the morning. That doesn't mean that the working that you did at 10 o'clock the night before wasn't valid, or the one you do that day in the evening isn't valid. For instance, yesterday I had a really long day. I started at 5, which is way early for me because I'm kind of a little bit of a night owl with my work schedule. And I went to a class. I was there from 7:30 in the morning and didn't get home till almost 7 at night. So I was beat. I was not trying to do any kind of rituals. I didn't have the energy to put into it to properly do it. And all I wanted to do was eat pho and watch Vikings with my husband, which is what we did. So today I will be doing my full moon ritual this evening. And so, you know, if you have a schedule that doesn't allow, I know one time at one point I worked a weird schedule where it was in the evenings all the way until like 3 or 4 in the morning. So it kind of took out my ability to do full moon rituals or new moon rituals in the, you know, prime time that most people do it. It's okay. You can do it. You can do it. It'll still work. You can do it when the schedule works for you. Okay? So I wanted to start with that because I thought it was interesting. I had already pre-recorded my video talking about how it was a full moon in Virgo. Then I started seeing on social media other workers and witches saying, oh, full moon in Leo. And I was like, huh. Sure enough, I looked in my Farmer's Almanac, which is where I found that it was in Virgo, and saw that it straddled both. And then I looked further into it to find out which time it was at its peak and all of that stuff. So it kind of depends on how specific you want to get with it. Neither one are wrong. So it's a full moon in Virgo that full moon in Leo that transcended into a full moon in Virgo, right? Now with the full moon in Leo energy that you would want to harness, so you can harness coming into your power and just feeling confident in yourself. Self-love work would be great. Any kind of working that can boost your confidence, things like that. Virgo energy, a little bit different. I would suggest doing any kind of past life regression would be a good time to do that. You could do divination, things like that. And neither would be wrong. You'd still be doing yourself a service by doing either one. Now, I also want to talk about full moon in general. So most practices, most paths would consider the full moon to be not only a time to manifest things, because of course you want to work with the lunar cycles, but typically full moon is also used for release. So letting go of what no longer serves you, or moving something away from you, right? Now, opposite of that, the new moon is oftentimes used for attraction, setting intentions. You know, you've heard of a lot of people talk about new moon intentions and journaling. That's why, because the new moon is associated with putting that out there, what you want, and then through the lunar cycle that is fulfilled and comes into fruition. So you can do workings that start at the new moon and work it all the way through the lunar cycle to the full moon. I do that sometimes. I charge my oils like that. I've charged waters like that, all kinds of things, or actually done a working that takes the whole lunar cycle. You know, just how much power do you want to put into it, right? So then I want to talk about too, this snow moon. And so the snow moon is also referred to as the ice moon. If you look into some older texts and literature, you'll find it called the ice moon, whereas now we typically refer to it as the snow moon. I've got this really cool book that you guys might want to check out if you're into Moon Magic. It's called Moon Magick by DJ Conway. I've had this book for years, and it goes through every full moon that we have of the year. So harvest moon, blood moon, blue moon, hay moon, and anyways, so it goes down the list, and then it'll tell you. So this one says that this is about the month of February, right? Because this full moon takes place in the month of February. The ice moon or snow moon always takes place in February. And so February 7th is the day of Selene and other moon goddesses. So that's a feast day for her. That's a day that if you work with that goddess or another moon goddess would be a good time to do a ritual of offering to her. It also goes on to tell a little bit of history about typically, you know, how that moon has been used in different cultures. And it also has recipes in here. It tells you how to make some different kind of bath salts. It even tells you how to make food. I think there's, what was it that I saw? I saw like muffins. There you go. Muffins, herb wine, mulled herb wine, all kinds of cool stuff. And it's the kind of book that you'll reference a lot if you like to work with moons, with the full moons. Like I said, I was gifted it a few years back, and I use it sporadically. It's not the kind of book that you read from cover to cover, because I don't know, I don't like to read those kind of books cover to cover, but it is a cool, if you're like, oh, hey, this full moon is coming up, full hay moon, what does that mean? And then you can reference this book and kind of see how different cultures have celebrated it throughout history, which is pretty neat. And another tool that I talked about briefly, was Farmer's Almanac. I highly suggest you invest in one of these. I actually got this one for free from a bank or something like that. And you can purchase them at H-E-B or a grocery store that's local to you. We have H-E-Bs where I live, but I know those aren't everywhere. It's a really good investment, especially if you're into green witchcraft, kitchen witchery, if you're a hedge witch, herb magic, any of that stuff. I am all of those things. I love gardening. It's one of my favorite mediums. So this is especially useful for me. If that's something that you want to learn more about, this can help you. It's funny, I was talking to another witch this morning. We were messaging, and we both had our Farmer's Almanacs right next to us. Like, we reference them all the time. So it's a really cool tool to have. They also make a witch's almanac. I've honestly never used it. I've heard it's really cool. I always just stick with the Farmer's Almanac, but you can do whatever works for you, okay? So I have some little notes here. I always like to go through my notes and see if I covered everything. So yeah, talking about moon magic and moon phases. You know, I also want to touch on this. You don't have to only do magic on moon phases. And I'll kind of talk a little bit about this, but I'll save this for either a blog post or another video. You can also work with days of the week and hands of the clock. You don't have to wait 3 weeks to do the spell you want to do because of the lunar cycle. Don't do that. If it needs to be done, it needs to be done. So you can find another way to work with it. So for instance, money and road opening, I've shared this before in a post. Thursdays, great day for that. Love spells, fertility spells. Friday, Freya's day, perfect for that, right? There's different things you can do with the hands of the clock. If it's going up or if it's going down would indicate what kind of working you would do. And like I said, I'm going to save that for another episode or another time. Another announcement that I did want to make is I wanted to make the announcement that I'm actually going to change things up a little bit. For personal reasons, Share Your Knowledge Sunday will be now on a bi-weekly basis. I don't know how many of you know this, probably not a lot of you, but some of you do. In addition to my regular job, I'm also a full-time student. I also do Hill Country Bruja. I also am a wife and have domestic duties and responsibilities there. So for me to commit on a weekly basis is just getting a little hairy. My classes that I'm in for school are 8-week classes. I'm getting into my 4th week, which means it's midterms already. It's flown by, but that's kind of what happens when you're in accelerated classes, which is fine, but it's just, I'm gonna be studying for midterms and then exams here really soon. So I need to free up some study time. So I'm going to be spacing it out on a bi-weekly basis. Another thing I want to announce, I'm going to be starting to dive more into my writing aspects. I've got a couple of blogs that I'll wait to reveal all of that, but a couple of blogs that I'm going to be contributing to. I'm not sure how frequently yet because this is a new endeavor, but I really want to focus on my writing. I love writing. I've always been called to writing, and it's something that I want to explore more. So I'll be doing still some videos, but I'll also be focusing a lot on the writing aspect of it too. And I'll be sure to post links and where you can read those blog posts and what the topics are and all of that moving forward. Just kind of wanted to let you guys know, changing things up a little bit. Share Your Knowledge Sunday is still going to be a thing. We're still going to do it. We're still going to do the same format as this, like doing a video. I'm just changing it to a bi-weekly basis. Just to free my time up just a little bit. And I think it allows for everybody to have a little bit of leeway. I know it's really hard to stay committed to something every week, especially on a Sunday. Life happens, right? Like Sundays are a big time for families. I know a lot of families that get together on Sunday. And so I don't want to be the kind of thing where people are pulled away from their obligations, but I do want as many people to participate. So I think if we don't have it as frequently, more people will be able to participate when we do have it. It'll make it a little bit more of a special event, right? It's only twice a month versus 4 times a month. So anyways, just wanted to share that with you guys. So if you were working the Moon Magick, like it was Moon in Leo, full Moon in Leo, you're good. If you choose to work your Moon Magick like it's full Moon in Virgo, you're good. Either way, you're good. So like I said, I'll be doing my ritual tonight and it won't make it any less effective. I'm really excited. I'm actually going to do a ritual offering to Lilith, dark goddess Lilith. I was in a witch swap package exchange and got a really great Lilith oil and a really great Lilith book and a pendulum and a lot of other great goodies, and I cannot wait to dive in. If you want to know more about what I got in my package, it's in the previous post from yesterday. But anyways, happy witching, y'all, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a good one.